It's been a while since my last vlog. A lot has happened. I have been away dealing with some sad family business, all while trying to dodge the global panini. I've been meaning to work on these next two vlogs while away, but with all that I had on my plate, needless to say, I wasn't feeling very creative. I'd planned to do a list of things that I'd learned about motorcycling. I'd written and recorded the script and everything, but with everything going on in the world, I just wanted to get back to having some fun. This video and the next was shot about 4 or 5 months ago and is part of a collaboration with Learn to Ride Jamaica. So, consider this a behind-the-scenes preview of another video in the works. Already you can see that we have some new faces along for today's adventure. Vanessa, a filmmaker friend who I had no clue knew Jordan, and Sophie, drone pilot extraordinaire. Ladies represent! And no, we don't discriminate against scooters. 2 wheels is 2 wheels, dagnabbit. And already we are turning heads in traffic. We are heading to Ligani, where we will be meeting up with a few other riders. This will be another ride out to Port Royal, but with slightly more people. Just a tad bit more. This was going to be my first proper legit group ride. Today I'm on the Honda Twister 250. It's a spiffy commuter, bigger and more stylish than the average Yang Yang, but smaller and more maneuverable than the Rebel. Needless to say, there are some serious machines here, and I'm pretty outclassed in regards to engine size, performance, and skill. But everyone is welcoming and pretty chill. After a pre-ride run-through of the group ride ground rules, stay tuned for the Learn to Ride video. It's time to roll out. Release the Krakens! The sport guys have taken the lead, but I am sure that if I am aggressive enough on the throttle and put all my bike riding skills to use, I too can keep up with these big boys and show them that I am also... And they're gone. They're out of here. To infinity and beyond. Jano, you can't slow down, make me feel like I'm catching up. Damn. Part of riding is learning to predict the behaviors of others on the road based on patterns. Now, up ahead, a JUTC bus stops in the far lane, blocking the grey car up ahead on my left. Most drivers will swing into the next open lane, which happens to be the lane that I am in, so I give it some gas and get out of the way. I have to remember that it is easy for cars to not see me on a bike. Speaking of giving it some gas, we are heading to our first stop, the gas station. We don't want a repeat of last time. And the engine cuts out. But this Honda Twister has a neat trick up its sleeve. A gas gauge! Yay! And according to the gauge, I was good for gas. Now, as there are quite a few people along for today's ride, I won't be memorizing everyone's names and bikes like the last time. Just know that if you hear an unnecessarily loud-ass bike during this video, it's probably the KTM. The machines are fueled and it's off to our next stop, the downtown waterfront. I'm attempting some lane splitting here, not my favorite. It takes being hyper aware and remembering that the vehicle you just passed could now be in your blind spot. Your mirrors are your friend. I want to address something about the camera that I'm using. It's a GoPro Hero Session 4. I mostly record on the ultra widescreen setting so that I can show you more of what I'm seeing as I ride. The downside is that it makes anything in the middle of the screen seem further away than it actually is. So I can be following another bike fairly closely and it seems like they are far away. I know you all want to see the action of the other bikes, but I have to ride for my safety first and the safety of others as well. I know it seems boring, but I don't want to get myself into problems for views, because then it won't be a fun time for anybody. I will, however, experiment in future with using other viewing modes and see how I like it in edit. Then maybe everything won't seem so far away. But enough of that, we are entering the historic district of downtown Kingston. Ah look, they waited for the slowpokes to catch up. It almost brings a tear to me eye. The blue and white building on my left is the Jamaica Gleaner building, the home of the largest, oldest, and most prominent newspaper in Jamaica. It wasn't always located here on North Street though. It was originally located on Harbour Street when it was founded in 1834. It only moved to its current location in 1969. Nice. There are still remnants of old buildings, foundations, and brickwork from the 1800s still standing. We often forget, but downtown once looked like this. People back then would never imagine that years later the streets would be filled with the roar of superbikes just enjoying the sights of a historic town. Soon we see the iconic and towering Bank of Jamaica building. That building was opened in 1961 and is the central bank for the island. Right now, we rest in its shadow and we await the rest of the crew. We finally regroup and ride by the newly revamped Victoria Pier. We stopped here at the waterfront with the intention of getting some aerial shots via drone. This is Sophie. She is deploying her DJI Mavic. Unfortunately, and honestly I should have remembered this from working with film crews in the past, we are too close to the airport. As a safety feature, the DJI is equipped with software to detect a preset no-fly zone near any active airport, and it locks the drone up, making it inoperable. So we decide to head onwards and suss out a new spot. In the meanwhile, Vanessa and Lloyd set up to take some B-roll footage of the group buzzing the strip. This car. So after the man got all the way over upon the left to pass me, he might go catch up onto the bike them like him a turn right. But no, he's going straight when he could have just stay left and go which pass him a go. Some people just want to be antagonistic because it's motorcycles. Anyway, back to our scheduled program. Hey, what's that noise? Oh, of course, it's the KTM. We reconvene before heading out once more to our next location, the Coconut Man on Palisado's main road. Once again, one twist of the throttle and the big boys are off, so it's me on the Twister, Jordan and Vanessa on the Rebel, and Sophie on the scooter, just breezing along. Okay, enough of this. I want to see what this Honda Twister can do. I also want to scout out the next location and figure out what shots we can get, cause it's getting a tad bit warm at about this time of the day. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it in the last video, but right in front of Cement Company, the road gets pretty lumpy. If you see the instrument cluster disappear off the bottom of the screen, it's because I'm standing up in the pegs, kind of like standing in the stirrups on a horse. Pretty easy to do on this bike. It means I can use my knees and elbows to absorb some of the shock, that way I don't feel like my butt is being yeeted off the bike. Huzzah! Drone success! Sophie sends off the eye in the sky to get some epic sweeping shots of the peninsula. Meanwhile, we try to find some reprieve from the sweltering sun while getting some hydration going. We ride off in formation before heading off to our final stop to record some interviews, Port Royal. This is my first time riding this bike and I don't know what its limits are yet. We just haven't spent enough time together. And any loose gravel in these corners can cause a low side. Better to err on the side of caution. I managed to somewhat keep up with some of the other bikes. We all regroup and wait for everyone to catch up, but I already see a problem. This helicopter has been circling around doing drills. No doubt some Jamaica Defense Force soldiers doing training, which is cool and all, except I can't hear a damn thing except rotors cutting through the air. So our interviews got what the duck got. We did manage to do one interview between the helicopters circling around numerous times, but it was pretty much a wash after that. We just chilled out and got some snacks and refreshments. Now it's time to head back. And oh boy, I got to experience something I hadn't before. The midday heat while riding. Now, as long as you're moving, the heat is somewhat manageable. The wind will keep you cool enough. But any part of your skin that is exposed to the sun will still get burned regardless. It's why many bikers will wear long sleeve shirts and gloves. But it's a trade-off, because once you start to hit stop-and-go traffic and gridlock, whoo boy!
I'm just checking because the back wheel was feeling a little bit like...
However, I'm not the only one being affected by the heat. The bike is too. Some motorcycles have radiators and fans built in that will ensure a certain level of temperature control, but many engines are air-cooled, meaning they rely on the movement of air over the engine or radiator while riding to stay cool. So needless to say, the blazing heat of the midday sun on a tropical island isn't doing anyone any favors. The heat was brutal. Needless to say, today I gained a massive level of respect for all those delivery riders and bearers and security forces that rely on a motorcycle for their livelihood. I could not imagine doing this all day, so my hat's off to all of you. Also, people, more reason to please tip your delivery rider. They are not being paid nearly enough as it is. I bid adieu to my KTM compadre and make my way back to the base.
Park you here for now.
Overall, it was a fun ride out. I'm really looking forward to the next one. So until then, safe travel, ponder gravel.